Hey, welcome Forex Fortune Hunters, Tom Wilmot, and today we're going to have a very interesting video on Metatrader, whether you're learning it for the first time or whether you're an experienced Forex trader. We've got some helpful hacks for you, so stay tuned. Okay, let's get started, guys. 6 Metatrader tips and tricks. As I said, whether you're trying to learn this platform for the very first time, it can be daunting, or whether you're just looking for some new ideas and making sure you didn't overlook anything as you were learning the platform, let's take a quick peek at a number of these issues. At the top margin, of course, there's a view menu, and we're going to take a quick peek at the data window. We're going to show you how to right-click so that you can adjust indicator inputs and review all the objects that may be up on the chart. Right-click also gives you an opportunity to get to properties, where you can show the ask line in a bid-ask situation. And I also want to show you a little indicator that I got off the internet called magnified market price. We'll skip over then to the line tools. And we've had a full video on the crosshatch cursor to show you how to do your pip measurements, but let's review that one more time quickly. The line tools also have an opportunity for you to use text labels or simple text, and those can be two confusing icons. So let's quickly check them out. And we'll conclude this video with a right click on the chart window that shows properties and shows you how to get rid of the grid if you don't want that, or shows you how to show the intraday period separator line, that vertical line that connects the two different day trades. So hang on one more sec and we'll get to the charts. Okay, let's start at the top. First of all, we have a Euro USD 15-minute chart. We're recording this video on the 4th of February, a Monday, after the Super Bowl, and we're going to see that the Euro had a trip to the downside today since the weekend. The Friday session is shown up in this area here, and we want to kind of figure out where we are on the page. So what we'd like to do here for this data window is to take a quick peek up here at the view menu, which is one of the tabs across the top of the chart, and we take a look down here and simply click on data window, and you can see it opens up a full complement so that no matter what indicator you're using, the open, high, low, close of a bar and so forth, all that information will be listed for you here. Notice also down in this section of the chart that whenever you're down and moving along, that this area down here, which is now blank because my cursor's off the screen, but this area here will also reflect the open, high, low, close, and if it were volume enabled, it would have volume as well. So here we go. Let's take a look. What we had on this chart, it was what we call our new GIMA indicator template, and this is something that we've taken right out of the book, the Zealander Flytrap Trading System. So just to set the stage, we have here a red down arrow that shows that we've taken out the Zealander signal line. We pull back into the bands. Notice this is a Sunday night session here. Pull back into the bands early in the Monday morning era. And we have a nice trade to the downside. So that's the situation with this indicator. Now, this is your data window here. Notice how things change as we cursor across the screen, and you can find out what the values of all your various moving averages are and so on. So that's the first one of our hacks, is the data window and this area down below where we also have the value presentation. Okay, next up, let's close down our data window here. Next up is an opportunity for us to adjust our indicator inputs and also review objects. Now what we can do is right click on the screen, and we can see down here on our menu the indicator list and the objects list. So let's quickly look and see what our indicators are that we've got here. And we can bring this right up so it's a good view. We have a number of moving averages. We start up here, and we have our multiple moving averages that are a basic of and a fundamental of our analysis every day, every hour. We have our cross medallion indicator that I had developed about 10 years ago. Another moving average, probably this one here, the longer moving average. Let's check it out. We'll come to edit. And we can see that that's a 28, which is royal blue. So we added this one right here, actually. So we're going to keep that. And then we also have, let's see what we got going on here. Wilmot signals. Let's see, well, maybe I'll put it in this one here. We do have the yellow, and there are some inputs. So you can see that you can make an adjustment. In this particular case, the medallion is going to appear now when we have a changeover of the 12 EMA and the 24 EMA. So we move into these various indicators and can make our adjustments in the input sections. So let's come back out of that, and we can see here that in fact what's happened is this would have been one of the medallions we'd see as we've had a crossover of the 12 and 24. Okay, now we'll come down to this area here, and we'll take a quick peek, and you can also right click on an indicator, and you can see that that's one right there, 47 moving average. The chocolate one is got a thicker line so that it also helps us a little bit understanding whether we're in an uptrend or a downtrend. It's just kind of a fail-safe, longer-term moving average. Okay, so right-click to adjust on the indicator inputs. We can also take a look at our objects. If we had any on the screen here, I'll have to bring this back over into this area. This particular set of data right here suggests that we have these lines going back in time. This is an indicator that I also had programmed called session times, and we'll talk about it another day. But bottom line is these objects exist in the objects queue, and that's all of those down there. We also have a label, which we've called new Gimma, and I'm actually going to edit that because we shouldn't have an I in there, so I'm going to get rid of it. And you can see that's as simple as that, and it changes this particular area up here. The Gimma stands actually for Daryl Guppy, who's an Australian technical analyst who came up with multiple moving averages. And also the market price label is down here in the corner, and that's the value that's placed on the screen that we'll talk about in just a second. Okay, that takes care of our second right-click, adjusting indicator inputs and reviewing our objects. Now what we're going to do is right-click and come down to Properties. Offline chat, there are a number of common ones, but let's take a look right now at what we want to do with the colors. Because, colors. We want to actually go back here and take a look at the ask line. And the ask line is going to show you this red line on the chart, which doesn't appear all the time. Always what we have here is this gray line on our chart. It never goes away. It's always there. It's put there by Metatrader. And that shows the current bid value of whatever currency pair is on your screen. In this particular case, the $1.14 plus 35.7 pips will buy €1 at this point in time. We're at the 114.35 level. Notice that this little indicator here is one, as I mentioned before I got off the internet, magnified market price, just so I can always see with my old eyes what the situation is here. So right now we are bid at 1435.0, right? And our ask price would be 114.37.7. That is the spread. That's the difference in pips that the broker takes for taking the trade. And bottom line is that will be valued in yet another of the drop-down screens that we'll show you in a few minutes. Okay, so we've had our first three hacks. First, we reviewed the data window and tried to figure out where we were on the screen. Second of all, we clicked on the adjusting indicator inputs, and we're going to do that again quickly just to review. And then we talked about the bid and ask lines on the chart. Let's come back, and with this review, we're going to right-click, come to indicator list, and notice down here we have magnified market price. That is this indicator that I mentioned to you over here. If we click on it, just to show you about adjusting inputs, you can see that there are a number of common and various inputs available to us here. But bottom line, this in terms of font style and size, how big it needs to be depending upon how old your eyes are. But for example here, if we wanted this to be in the upper right, what corner it says here, we'd put a 1 in that. We'd click OK, and let's see where it disappeared to. Sure enough, there it is up in our upper right hand corner, and that will give us, and obviously it's green when it's going up and red when it's going down. So that's one way to take a look at it. Session times I mentioned to you here gives us an opportunity to see what inputs we might have, what time of day, depending upon the clock cycle for your server for Forex. And notice we have an aqua vertical line for the opening of the London session, and a dark orange line vertical for the opening of our US session. And you can see that if we'll move this over here, those are right here. So 3 a.m. London time, and also then 7 a.m. Boston time. So that was the situation today with this particular one. And we can see that also down here in the bottom, relative strength index, and notice here we have, as I always use, my 45-55 midway band, and you can adjust those bands here. So that's really the basics of working with your indicators and adjusting inputs as you need on the fly. Let's come back and get rid of our ask line. We'll change that off here and go right back to the bid line with our magnified market price listed here. Okay, now quickly what we're going to do, 2 or 3 more things. We want to come over here. Remember that we said in our crosshatch cursor, if you wanted to measure what kind of a move this was, let's see, we wanted to know how many pips down. When we pulled back into the bands, we had a beautiful pullback. We have very little risk on this trade because we could put our stop right here, and it's probably not more than 3 or 4 pips. Above the line, 4 or 5 pips, we've got a great stop. Now, what you do is grab the crosshatch cursor, position it on the screen, and then drag and drop. And we see we got a 19 pip downturn from Monday night into the London Open. Not a bad way to start the week. At a full contract, $200 or so. So as a result of that, we also know that we can go up in the other direction. And let's just see what this move was back last Friday. We had quite a volatile session based upon the jobs report that was listed in the U.S. And we had a 21 pip pop there. And then the previous day, we had a very ugly downturn on the euro. And we came back down here. But notice this line held. So if you have your cursor, build yourself a stop loss level just above the line after this pullback. You can see we have a nasty move to the downside on this 15-minute chart. So that's the pip measurement with the crosshatch cursor. Two more quick things. One is over here in our drawing tools area, we want to take a look. Remember we put this new Gamma in. Notice how it does not move anytime we have the screen. We can scroll the screen, and sure enough, that stays right there. That is this tool right here, which is called the Draw Text Label. And it's different from this tool here, which we can put on the screen. Let's say we wanted something that was going to happen right after the turnover of the day. And we can plug our text in here. We'll say a new day time frame, and that's going to go right there, and here it is, and it's making this line. We can click on it and pull it over like this and double click to get that box out of there. Now notice what happens in the difference between these two. This one moves with the screen. This one, which is the label, stays with our template. Okay. Last up, right-click on the chart window. We want to come down to Properties again. Whoops, I have to pull this up a little bit. I can't, you probably can't see it. I'm sorry. Properties is down here. What we want to do is get rid of those period separators. And notice now those white vertical lines have gone, even though our session times remain. We can plug them back in again by clicking on Properties, Show Period Separators, and also there's a nice handy grid feature, which if you like a grid, is available to you as well. Okay, that's it for our first 6 Metatrader hacks. Please join us in the next video. We got 6 more coming your way. Don't forget to like our videos, please, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell on the icon if you would like to be advised of new upcoming videos. And please also join us at Forex Fortune Hunter, fxfortunehunter.com. Thanks for coming.